برجاء أماني وإيمان أصلي وأدعو الرحمن بارك أولادنا وأهاليهم بارك يا ربي وأعطيهم برجاء أماني وإيمان أصلي وأدعو الرحمن بارك أولادنا وأهاليهم بارك يا ربي وأعطيهم املأ قلبي بالقرآن للأبد سلام وخير وعلم لكل المسلمين في ديننا وقرآننا نحيا بألفتنا متحدين. By faith and hope and wishes, I pray to Allah the Merciful, bless our little ones as our parents too. By faith and hope and wishes, I pray to Allah the Merciful, bless our little ones as our parents do, fill with the light of Quran.
Well, basically, my name is Jermaine Williams. I'm 27. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and basically, I've been Muslim now, going on my 4th year. December 8th, 2015 will be my 4th year being Muslim, and basically, I have basically been loving it ever since I took my Shahada. I mean, I can't stop from smiling. And, you know, just the glory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just, he's just manifest in my life so much. Just a brief description about me, you know, I have a 5-year-old son. And, you know, I've been trying to be active in his life and trying to be there as a father, as a good Muslim father, role model, and give him some understanding of life or how things go, and try to, you know, show him the way of life. I was working for a company when I first took my Shahada. I mean, basically, my mother, she is still living, my father's still living, and I had a lot of questions about myself, or a lot of questions about my father and my dad. I mean, my mom and my dad, and basically, it just ended up me reading my Bible more and more and more. But more and more I read the Bible, the more and more I found so many contradictions for myself, to where it wasn't giving me answers, it was giving me more questions.
Peace and goodness and knowledge to all Muslims.
Then I had answers. And basically, when I started, you know, really researching Islam, I mean, I basically just started pondering, like my mind would go everywhere and be like, you know, what's really going on with Islam? The way I found Islam was, I was working for a distributing company that was selling alcohol. I won't say their name, but they were distributing alcohol, and I was researching on YouTube, Facebook, Google. I mean, I didn't have any Muslims in my family. I didn't have any Muslims on my Facebook, anywhere. So I was basically by myself, doing a lot of research. And basically what happened was, I said, it's just like Brother Malcolm X. He didn't stop at Islam. He went to Mecca, and he actually went and ate and drank at the well of Zamzam. I mean, he went and explored for himself about what true Islam is. And, you know, I was really good in reciting the Bible, but then I was like, the Bible was giving me so many questions. And so I really couldn't understand. So the biggest thing was, I'm a little nervous right now because it's my first time, but I'm trying to let everyone understand me fully to be clear. Islam, I took a break from work. I drove up to one of the mosques in Richardson, and I met a good brother there, Brother Ruklun and Brother Esau, and they was there. It was after Jumu'ah prayer, And they was like, hey, brother, can we help you? Are you okay? You all right? How you doing? And I was like, yeah, I just want some pamphlets. I just want to see, what is Islam? What do y'all do? What y'all believe in? Because I don't have any understanding. So I believe in going to the main source to have understanding about something. So when I went, it was just, I sat back in another room. And I didn't feel comfortable because I started seeing everybody dressed kind of funny, kind of weird. I'm still dressing in how I was dressing. And I was like, okay, let me go to my car. So I started reading everything and I started trying to get an understanding. And so I still wasn't understanding. So I said, okay, I can read. I know this. I can read. I can write. I can, comprehend. But then I started saying, what I want to know is not going to come from pamphlets, and they're not going to come from me sitting in my car. So I went back in and I was like, excuse me, sir, I don't know how to greet you or, how to come up on you, but I just want to know, can you break down verbally what is Islam? And when he started asking me questions, there was not one time in the essence of me that said no. And he was like, brother, if you die today, if you walked outside this masjid right now and you got hit by a bus, do you know where you're going? Would you rather be confused or have an answer? And me, since I'm seeking, I'm looking for an answer. So when he said, okay, I need you to repeat these words. And when he was saying, AsaduAllah, Ashadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, I repeated those words, but it felt like, it just felt like something over me just was leaving me. It was just a lot of negativity. And it was kind of funny to me because I started crying when I took my Shahada. I was crying because I was like, I don't know what I just said. I've been watching YouTube videos. I've been on Google. I've been doing all these things. But now I'm in a situation and I still didn't understand it. So I said, give me one moment. Give me one moment. I had actually interrupted him in the middle of my Shahada. And I said, give me one moment. Let me make sure that I know what I'm saying. But then he said, brother, are you sure that this? Are you sure that this? Are you sure? I was like, yes. Without a shadow of a doubt, yes. And so when I started saying it again, I started crying again. And so it was funny to me because the main thing was a couple of weeks back before I took Shahada, I had prayed to God. I took a shower on my own. I didn't know nothing about Islam. I took a shower and I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I said, Allah, if you can, get anything that's evil out of my life. If it's family, if it's my job, if it's friends, if it's anything that I don't need in my life, remove it. And when that started happening, I started having things come to me very clear, understanding. And when I took my Shahada, I cried. Even when I went home later on that night and took my shower to be fully cleansed, I even cried then because I was like, I can't believe it. I'm truly Muslim. Now, when I got ready to tell my parents that I was Muslim, that's when my true journey started, because I told my dad, and my dad is actually a pastor of a church. And so when I told him, he was like, oh, no, Jesus Christ is going to be my Lord. Jesus saved my life. And I was like, there ain't no need for that. Just relax. I'm Muslim now, you Christian, I understand, but I'm still going to pray for you. And I hope that you come to Islam one day. So I actually used the same way that was given to me, to him. I actually gave him some pamphlets and was like, hey, Dad, I want you to open this and I want you to read it and read it out loud so you know what's going on. And so I don't think he still read them, but I will still talk to him. And for a while, he shut me out of his life. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I understand. But when I told my mom, she was like, really? You Muslim? I was like, yeah, I'm Muslim now. And she was like, well, look here, baby boy, whatever makes you happy and whatever brings you closer to God, then I want you to do it. But me hearing that And actually hearing her say that, I gave my mom one of the biggest hug. I think I gave my mom the biggest hug of a lifetime, because it was a bigger hug than graduation, and it was a hug for giving me birth to understand life. And I recommend anywhere where I'm at. I mean, I tell people about Islam. If they see me dressed in a nice, funny way, I say, hey, why you ain't dressed this way? You should dress this way. And some people, they laugh it off, and some people, they have a very dirty mouth. But at the same time, I recite Quran to them, and they'll be like, you think you clever. And I said, no, it's not being clever. It's having understanding. It's having understanding that, hey, you know, me and you have no difference. If I sat you in a room with a lot of people, there was 50 people in the room, and I asked everybody a question to say, hey, how many people in this room been lied to? How many people been cheated on? How many people, you know, have difference? Everybody will stand up. So it's not too much different between us but skin and color. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's like the biggest goal for me right now. Like I say earlier, I was with a distributing company, and they actually fired me from my job. And, you know, I was like, Allahu Akbar, no problem. I get another job, no problem. But it hurt me because that was my main stability of supporting my son. And what happened was they said, well, we see here, and they had a whole bunch of like pictures. And they was like, hey, we see here you doing this and you bowing, and what you doing? I said, I'm praying. I'm taking the time out to give our God, because what you don't realize is we serve the same God. You see him different, I see him the same. But it's the way you believe in him. And I'm just taking the time out to give him thanks for giving me water that I can swallow naturally, give him thanks that I can just see all of my 5 senses and just be thankful.
Peace and goodness and knowledge to all Muslims.
Just to be alive, not to walk, or not to, you know, brush my own teeth or have assistance getting out of bed, just to be alive. And so he was like, well, that sound all good, but I tell you what, you fired. And I was like, well, I tell you, I can't win for lose here. But the moral of that big story is sometimes you have to face adversity, and sometimes you have to laugh at adversity, because adversity is what makes you stronger. Adversity is what keeps you going. If you don't have, it's just like a battery top or a battery post on a car. If you don't have a negative and a positive, you'll never understand how a car operates, how to turn on. I mean, everything, it generates in its own matter. So the biggest thing for me is that I can tell anybody is, strengthen your iman, keep praying, keep your salah, and pray for others. Don't always pray for yourself. Pray for others more than you pray for yourself. Because I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every time I get out of bed, every fajr prayer I try, and I be like, I got out of bed by myself. I didn't need no help. I'm able to do wudu and not have any assistance. I can remember. I have good memory. I didn't forget anything. But the only bad thing about mine is, and I don't know if I should talk about it, but being a single Muslim is hard, because you see a lot of brothers, how happy they are with their family, and then you see the single Muslims over here, the single males, and it's like, man, I wonder what their life is like. The best advice I can basically give is stay focused. Don't worry about marriage. It's good, but worry about reading Quran, reciting Quran, memorize the hadith, the sunnah. I mean, focus on knowing who Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, who he is. Because coming into Islam as a revert like me, be honest, you don't know who Muhammad is. And so you have to go out and ask different brothers and say, who is Muhammad? Do you have any literature? Do you have any books? Go to Jummah prayer. If you're able to go to Jummah prayer on Friday, go to Jummah prayer. It's very important. It's very important. Making sure that, hey, if you dress right, make sure you're not showing anything as a male. Because as a revert male, you want to make sure that you are You're fresh, you're clean, you have great understanding about who you are, and what you're doing. Don't just say yes or no to something that you don't know what you're doing. Have great understanding, be a great thinker. So basically, I tell people like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with 2 eyes. He blessed us with 2 ears. 1 nose, but 1 mouth. So you have to be very careful what you say, because whatever comes out your mouth, you can't take it back. You cannot take it back, so you have to be very careful. So always think the strongest muscles, 2 strongest muscles is the heart and the mind. So that's how I think about it. But basically, a lot of times, it's never losing focus. Always go back to your own family, even if they don't want to hear it. If they don't want to hear it, make a dua for them. Pray for them. A lot of people, they see us prostrating, but just hold up. If it's a male in your family, hold their hand and say a prayer with me. Repeat after me. That's a base. The dawah, it never stops. That's one of the biggest things in the world that makes me strong. And I love for people to ask me questions about Islam, because it makes me stronger. I don't want to sound arrogant or anything, but it makes me stronger, because some questions I may not be able to answer, but I write them down in my mind and I take it home with me. And so if that question ever come back to me, I'm very knowledgeable about what to do. I don't worry about the school of thought. When you're a new revert, don't even worry about a school of thought like a madhab. Don't even worry about that. Basically memorize Al-Fatiha, because what I have noticed, me being Muslim 3 going on 4 years, I still mess up on Al-Fatiha sometimes. And it's the understanding of Al-Fatiha. It's certain words and how you say it. You want to make sure that you get Al-Fatiha down correctly before you move on to anything else. I'll see a lot of new reverts and they always want to say, man, I want to learn Inklings. I want to learn this. I want to learn. No. One bite at a time. That's how you eat an elephant. One bite at a time. But basically, I love Islam. I'm not going anywhere. I'm happy. A lot of answers are being answered to me. And a lot of questions that I had has been answered. It's like Easter. Today is Easter. A lot of Christians celebrate Easter. And I had someone ask me and say, Jermaine, are you going to celebrate Easter? I said, I'm Muslim. I don't do that, man. I don't do it no more. He said, man, you really taking it for real? I said, why not? Why you ain't? Because I seen a picture on, I don't mean to take up a lot of time, but I seen a picture on Facebook. And it was basically a Santa Claus on a cross. But at the bottom of the cross, he had Easter eggs. And I was like, man, if you're a Christian, I'm not bashing you whatsoever, I'm not. But you should look at that picture and really think. If you think God came to a man 3 ways, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, then you should really think about, number one, who you are and how you think, and do the math and the science in between, because it doesn't add up. And that was one of my questions. And another question that I had was, if Adam and Eve were the first 2 people here, and this is when I was a Christian, but if Adam and Eve were the first 2 people here, and they grew up, and this is in the Bible, and they grew up and they sinned and they got kicked out the garden, long story short, they had 2 kids, Cain and Abel. And so when they had Cain and Abel, in the Bible it says that they grew up and got married and had kids. And I rose a question in my mind. I was like, how can they grow up, get married, have kids? And if it's only one woman here. So I will go around, not on purposely, sometimes, but I would ask pastors and preachers and reverends and deacons and all type of stuff, and I would ask them that question. And I've seen pastors, they break out the Bible and they'll say, hey, this, but they would never give me an answer. They couldn't answer it. But like anything, me myself, I started out with the Torah, which was brought down from Musa. Peace and love. peace and blessing be upon him. And then I went to the Bible, the Injil. And then that's how I got to the Quran, by questions. More and more I read from the Torah to the Bible, my thinking was always confused. It was everywhere. But for myself, when I got to Quran, I mean, everything that I felt, I seen, I heard, it was true.